Hello everyone, this is 9 Like Ginger, and today we'll be discussing why the expanded playoffs for the MLB is a bad idea. Currently, there are 10 teams that make the playoffs, 5 in each league. It has been this way for a while. There are debates if the MLB should expand to 12 or possibly 14 teams before the next season. The MLB has never used this format for the playoffs. The closest to it ever using a 12 or 14 team format was for the playoffs in 2020. The idea was mostly disliked by the baseball community for very obvious reasons. 16 of the 30 teams made the playoffs that year in a 60-game season. Teams like the Houston Astros, who finished below 500, made the playoffs, but it was different that year because this Houston team was an excellent team. They deserved to make the playoffs. Slumps hurt baseball teams more during the 2020 season because there were less games, and if you were a solid team that went on a 7-8 game slide, there's a chance you missed the playoffs despite being a great team like the Astros were. The Houston Astros ended up being one game away from going to the World Series in the 2020 season, despite only having the 8th best record in the AL that year and being below a 500 winning percentage. This is going to go into the next point I want to talk about, and that is if the MLB decides to expand to a 14-team playoff, that the 6 and 7 seeds will rarely or never win at all. It doesn't make sense to me. You're letting these weak teams make the postseason, but they'll never win it all, or only win it once every 50 years. Just look at the NBA for an example. 16 teams out of the 30 make the postseason, and I bet you can't name a 8th or even a 7th seed team that has won it all. Want to know why? Because it's never happened. You're just giving these mid-tier MLB teams hope that they are going to sneak into the playoffs and somehow upset every team that they face and ultimately win it all. That will probably only happen once every 100 years, or possibly it would never happen at all. The reason why the MLB wants to do it is because it will be quote-unquote more fun for the fans. But we all know why they want to do it. They just want more money. You can make a great case for the 2021 season that if there were 7 seeds in the AL, that every team that was seeded from 1 to 7 deserved to make it in. If the 14-team playoff format happened last year, the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners would have made it in. And they deserved to. They both had 90 or over wins and were both less than 2 games out from the 5th seed. The same, however, can't be said in the NL though. Like I said earlier, mid-tier teams would have made it in at the 6th and the 7th seed in the National League. The Phillies and the Reds would have both made it in at only 82 and 83 wins, barely being over a 500 winning percentage. That's just ridiculous. Imagine being told that if you win every other game that you'll make the playoffs and have a chance to win it all, which you know won't happen because there's no way teams like the Phillies and the Reds would have battled with the league's best, such as the Dodgers, Braves, or the Giants, and get past them all. So maybe, just maybe, the 6th and 7th seeds works for one league each year, but I can rarely see it working for both leagues on every given year. 6 and 7 seed teams aren't going to win it all, man. If you're willing to bet that they will, you're stupid. The only way it could happen is if you're coached by an amazing manager who has 3 World Series wins and is literally the undisputed GOAT of managing. Peace out and stay hydrated.